if Lamar Jackson were to come to Atlanta, I think it would have to be for the right price, wouldn't you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I kind of want him to come to Atlanta, but I think it's got to be for at least if we don't go over three first round picks, I think that would be perfect. But
Yeah, so that's where you and I disagree, Will. I've made a couple videos about this, just kind of talking about my stance on the Lamar Jackson trade because he's obviously been like probably the Falcons have been one of the main teams for him to get rumored to. And
yeah,
I think there's a common misunderstanding with me too. It's not that I don't want Lamar in Atlanta. I would love to have Lamar Jackson in Atlanta. He's exciting. He's a great player. We haven't seen almost anything like him. I think he could do some great things for us, but I'm
that's
also someone who believes in building through the draft, and I just don't believe giving up that much draft capital for someone who hasn't performed well in the playoffs, isn't the best passer, and has had some injury issues. So it's not anything like you said. It's about the right price. For me, it's a lot lower than what most people would give up.
all
So
right.
my
Hypothetically, what would you give up?
it's difficult. I would say what I would feel comfortable with is like a first and 2 seconds. Like I wouldn't even
That
give
would
two.
be the steal of a
I'll tell you what.
lifetime.
I'll
There's
tell you
no way
what.
in hell that would happen.
I'll tell you what. Well, okay. Well, here's the thing that you have to remember though too is that if a trade does happen, they're franchise tagging Lamar. That means he's going to have like a $45 million contract right there, or like 42 or somewhere around there. I think that was what the tag contract was, but around there. So then you also have to remember that they're going to be trading him to us, and then we are going to have to pay him the contract. So even we've seen situations like with Deshaun Watson where there's a
Yeah.
contract like that. But I think that teams are going to be smarter this time around with a Lamar Jackson trade if it does happen, and I think that teams won't be doing stuff like that where they're going to be giving that much and paying the guy.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, but I feel like the Deshaun Watson thing is kind of a different beast itself, given the allegations and the time missed. Lamar Jackson has, as far as I can tell, has no allegations against him. He's not suspended for any games.
Yeah.
So I think this would be a better move. Do I think they'll? I mean, there's really no report on the Falcons even interested to begin with. So I mean, it's like, who knows if they learned their lesson from last year or not? But I mean, I guess time's gonna tell on that aspect, which we ain't got long. It's coming up soon. So,
It is. It is. It's coming real soon.
but I really trust the front office. I trust Arthur Smith. I think he knows what he's doing. And as far as like last year with the Deshaun Watson thing, I think that was more of an Arthur Blank thing than anything else, given the history with him and Blank. But I trust Smith for sure on this one. And if we did get him, we're going to the playoffs. You can bank on that for
So
sure.
that's the other thing to me that just doesn't make sense is everybody argues like, well, like I want excitement or I want to make the playoffs and stuff like that. And to me, like I want to win. Like I don't want just the playoffs. I want to win. This is where my mind goes with trading for Lamar Jackson. Do I think it'd be a smart move under certain circumstances with the right price, with the right contract? Yes, but in other circumstances also, it's like we're not the LA Rams. We aren't a Matthew Stafford away from being, a serious playoff contender. Our defense sucks ass. Like, I'm not afraid to say it. Our defense sucks ass. Our offensive line is just getting to where it can be somewhat decent. Our run game just got established. We only have one true receiving threat. We can't even say Kyle Pitts really is anymore. And I don't think that's his fault, but you can't just give credit just because of one season.
Honest to gosh, I gotta I gotta beg to differ on that. I truly we're not the Rams, let's be real, but I truly think there is a scenario where the Falcons can be a Super Bowl contender this year. You can call me biased if you want, but I think they can do it
So
because
give me that scenario.
yeah, and I'll give it to you.
Okay.
Bring in Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
Obviously, as long as he's healthy in Arthur Smith's offense, running like dude, that's
I
completely
agree.
unstoppable.
I agree.
And just about any running back in Arthur Smith's system will freaking dominate. You can bring in just about anyone. You could draft a guy. That guy is probably going to go get close to 1,000 yards.
I agree.
And then bringing in Lamar Jackson alone is going to bring in free agents. And if we backload his contract, we could sign so many good free agents. We can get a good receiver this year to go along with Drake London, maybe Alan Lazard. And then we got Kyle freaking Pitts, dude. I mean, and then the offensive line, solid. Maybe bring in a center like Bradley Bozeman, guy that's been with Lamar Jackson in the past, that knows each other really well. And then as far as the defense is concerned, Jesse Bates, you can still figure out a way to fit him under the cap. You can do it. It's not an impossible situation. And then getting a good defensive line, bringing in some key pieces. The NFC is weak right now. And I promise you, if we did everything that I just said, that's a top seeded team. And you can't tell me it's not.
I won't say it's not a top seeded team, but I'm talking about winning. And for me, like,
That
okay,
sounds
look,
like winning to me, though. A top
it
seeded
sounds
seed.
like winning maybe a couple playoff games, but I want to win. I want to win it all. And to do that, this is a perfect time to bring in this argument. Okay. This is my favorite argument to bring up when it's talking about free agents and bringing in Lamar. Okay. Let's say we give him 3 first-round picks. Okay. Let's say that we do that. We pay him a crazy contract because it will be a crazy contract. He's asking for a crazy contract. We pay him that crazy contract. There's 2 things I want to point out. Okay. One, the Falcons have already shown several times that they are shit at handling our cap space situations. We just got out of it with Matt Ryan and Julio Jones.
This is a different
Hold on.
front office, though.
It is. But what I'm saying is people don't realize in the NFL how fast cap space goes like that. It goes like that. You hand out a $45 million contract to Lamar Jackson each year, you can backload it all you want. That money is going somewhere else. Then we're going to be in negative cap space.
And that's fine because we're going to be competing while the NFC is weak. The NFC South is weak.
But then you can't get better.
That's years from now. I'm not worried about that. The time to win would be now with these young guys, this young core.
In the
smart
East.
Front office is trying to keep their job. They're not worried about 5 years from now. They're worried about making the playoffs and keeping their job because they're not going to be around 5 years from now. So they're going to do everything in their power to win now.
Okay,
you can be like, oh, the league is more focused in the future. You got to focus on the future. You can say that all you want. Ultimately, winning is really about now. Every team's trying to win now. You can say teams are tanking, but let's be real. People are playing for their jobs. People are playing to win the Super Bowl.
No, look. Okay, so here, this is the main one that was the first one. The main one now is literally look at any of the teams. Okay, look at any of the teams, even the Rams that have gone to the Super Bowl and won. Okay, in the past, even teams that have gone to the Super Bowl and lost, they build through the draft. Okay,
and I think we've done that. What have we had the past 5 years? Top 10 picks.
Kyle
we've done
Pitts,
builds, and the time to go for the free agent is now.
Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Richie Grant, AJ Terrell, Arnold Ebiketie, Chris Lindstrom,
Caleb McGarry.
Bro, you and I are not on the same wavelength with Cam McGarry. Just because he has one good year, we do not get to claim that he's a good player.
Well, listen, I'm not too worried about McGarry, but that's a different story.
Okay, all right. Look, my point is that if you look at the Eagles, Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Avonte Maddox, Jalen Hurts,
look at the Chiefs,
Miles Sanders. What?
Look at the Chiefs.
Absolutely. Let's look at the Chiefs. Isaiah Pacheco, Patrick Mahomes, Andrew Wiley, Creed Humphrey.
You know what that sounds a lot like? That sounds a lot like the Falcons. We can talk about Drake London. We can talk about Kyle Pitts. We can talk about Chris Lindstrom. We can talk about AJ Terrell. We built through the draft. We done been there.
Guess what? Guess what? Both of those teams that we just talked about drafted their quarterbacks. If we were to give 3 first-round picks, that is 3 years of future talents. We could get someone absolutely better than Lamar.
We got 6 picks after that. Just because we don't have the first round, that's going to be a late round pick anyways. Let's win now. It's a weak conference.
But why are you focused on the conference? We need to win, period.
And we got to compete right now.
Adding Jesse Bates, Bradley Bozeman, and Lamar Jackson and a receiver in the draft will not win us the Super Bowl. I can promise you.
Are you sure?
Promise. Dude, there's no way in hell. Our edge rushing situation.
Look at our team. We got a good offensive line. We got
our edge rushing situation.
Drake London, good running backs, a weak conference, a weak division. Like,
Will, we've been bottom
look at the
three.
Eagles. Before the season, the Eagles were very similar to us, believe it or not, they were, and they were this close to winning
No,
the Super Bowl.
no. The Eagles went to the playoffs
A
last year.
run-heavy team, they were very similar. No one was
We've
really
been
expecting too
bottom
much out of them
three.
in a weak division. I mean, it's very similar.
We've been bottom three in edge rushing, like on getting pressures, on getting sacks for 3 seasons now. And you're telling me
And that
adding.
is a big, massive issue. The difference between the Falcons and the Eagles, they have a good defensive line. But the
I'm not
thing
even
is,
comparing the Eagles. I'm not even comparing the Eagles. I'm saying your argument of adding Jesse Bates, Bradley Bozeman, and Lamar Jackson, the receiver in the draft, is not going to fix
did
us.
you miss the part where I was talking about the defensive line?
What's good about our defensive line? Taquan Graham?
I'm talking about adding people. I'm talking about
With
building
what
with the
money?
draft picks that we do have.
With
I
what
mean,
money?
the good coach that we just signed, Ryan Nielsen, who's literally focused on developing pass rushers, Trey Hendrickson. He's had a top 10 defensive line like for years now. He'll do it
Okay,
again.
let me point out Marcus Davenport, who I think had a half a sack this past season. Let me point out Peyton.
That's one
Let me point
instance.
out Peyton Turner. Let me point out Peyton Turner, who got taken in the first, and everyone disagreed with it, and he's turned out to be ass.
That's one person. Or
That's
that's two
2
people, matter
people.
of fact. But still, I mean, like in a perfect world, what are you thinking? Are you thinking build down the line and then like you draft a Patrick Mahomes out of
Do you want me
nowhere?
to be completely honest with you?
Yes.
I think right now, if I'm the GM, okay, and I swear, if we end up trading for Lamar Jackson and this guy ends up balling out, okay, what I'm about to say, and he ends up balling out, and I know that it would have been a better move, money wise, draft capital, all that, I will absolutely burn this into the hole of every TikToker's head until the day I die, saying I was right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
At pick 8, which we were there right last year, at pick 8, if I think we could get a guy like Anthony Richardson. Now, a lot of people there's a lot of casual NFL fans. There's more casual NFL fans than serious fans, but I pay attention to the draft more. I'm probably one of the main NFL TikTokers that literally sit there and watch hours of film evaluating these guys. There's unbelievable bias towards guys like Will Levis and Bryce Young. Okay. Anthony Richardson is 6'4". He scrambles just as good as Lamar Jackson did in college. Maybe I'll take that back. I'll take a step down, but not by much. Okay.
I was about to say, do you remember Lamar
Yeah,
Jackson at
no. Lamar
Louisville?
Lamar was a freak. Lamar was a freak. But Anthony Richardson has actually very underrated traits as a passer. He can throw it way deep down the field. He has some like accuracy concerns, some problems with his footwork and stuff like that. But he's great. I think we could get him at pick 8. Take Anthony Richardson. Have a QB competition with Ritter and Richardson. I think Ritter will probably start originally. Richardson will take over. Okay. Then we have 2 more first round picks. Plus we have our second round picks and our third round picks and the fourth coming from the Calvin Ridley trade in the future to build this team up. Let's build it up. The Bengals are the same way, man. You look at Jermaine Pratt, you look at Logan Wilson. The only thing that they really added to that defense was Mike Hilton and Trey Hendrickson, and those are great free agency additions. But
Do you
right
think the
now,
Bengals would be anything like they are without Joe Burrow? You got to have that franchise guy. Are you saying
correct. Where
Anthony
did they get Joe
Richardson
Burrow
is the
from?
franchise guy?
Where did
Anthony
they get Joe Burrow
Richardson?
from? Did they trade for Joe Burrow?
Anthony Richardson is Joe Burrow?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying they
No,
drafted
no,
Joe
no. You're
Burrow.
not saying that. You're right, but you are saying Anthony Richardson should be the focal point. You're saying draft a quarterback every year
I'm not
till we hit one, right? Because we're building for the
I'm
draft.
not even saying that, dude. Dude, let's be so real, okay? Desmond Ritter didn't look amazing, but he had several flashes to the point where I think he could at least be a like somewhat close to a Dak Prescott. Okay. If I'm being
Yeah.
super realistic, and I don't like giving credit to Ritter. You know I'm not the biggest fan of Ritter, but it's true. I think he could be like a Dak Prescott. That will be good enough to win us playoff games. Plus, let's take that first round pick this year. Let's spend it on the edge rusher. Let's say we don't go the Anthony Richardson route, which I'm not
What
even saying.
makes you so confident in the fact that building through the draft is going to win us Super Bowls? Just because of
Because
past, like,
in literally any sport that you look at, like if you look
because
at the Golden State Warriors, they all they have done is built through the draft. Okay.
But
if you look at football, you look at the Bengals, you look at the Eagles, you look at even the Rams before they added Matthew Stafford. They just build through the draft, man. If
listen,
you
you
trade
are you are right. But what makes you think adding Lamar Jackson means we cannot build through the draft? Because we can. We're
Where's the
giving up.
draft capital to do so, Will?
We have 6 picks after 1 pick, bro. That's
Okay, okay, okay,
six
okay.
chances to hit
Okay,
on
okay,
somebody.
okay. Let's say we trade our 3 first round picks. We get Lamar. Okay. Let's say we give him $45 million a year. Let's say we fully guarantee that contract like we did with this, like we tried to do with Deshaun Watson. Nuts ass shit. Okay. I will not sugarcoat it for anyone. If you think that's smart, you're dumb. No offense. Not even just saying to you. I'm saying to anybody out there. If you think giving 45 million effing dollars a year guaranteed, meaning that if he snapped his leg and retired, you still owed him that money. That's what guaranteed means. He could not play another season for us. We owe him that money. Okay. If you think that is a smart idea and then taking 3 first round picks, absolutely. I won't even say that you're wrong. We do have 6 picks after that, but there's a reason why there's 6 rounds. It's not saying that you can't get a good player in those rounds. It's just saying that your more likely chance to hit on a generational or star player is going to be in those first rounds,
So
first, second, and third.
you're saying it's really likely to hit on a first round pick in the late round or the late picks of the first round? Because that's where we'd be picking
Yes.
with Lamar. We'd be picking in the late 20s. I
Yeah.
think we would. I'm confident
Absolutely.
in
If
saying
you are in the first round, you still absolutely have a chance. We saw the Bucks do it
so.
last year. They traded back twice, I think, and then ended up in the second round or maybe the late first, and they took Logan Hall. I thought that was a tremendous job. As long as you're staying, dude. If we had like, let's say that we traded Lamar, but every single year we had round 2, pick 1. We had pick 33 in the draft. I would be okay with that. You're still getting a very good quality player. But my point is that it's probably not even going to be just 3 first round picks and we got to give that contract. That's too much for me, Will. It's too much. It is giving the future away. And you can talk about free agents all you want, but the fact of the matter is that they're going to be asking for money. And when what comes with money after you give that huge contract is nothing. We're not going to have much.
How are you going to feel if we do exactly what you're saying and we do build through the draft? We'd be doing that anyways. Every team builds through the draft. Let's be
Right.
real. But years from now, the NFC is insanely, insanely good. We have a good roster, and we're like, damn, I wish we had the same team 4 years ago when the NFC was absolutely wide open. That's going to hurt when you realize that because the time
So
to win, every team in the NFC, just about every team except maybe one or two, needs to be trying to win now.
so
Every
but
year
that
you should be trying
that's
to win
that's
now,
where I
and you need to
disagree.
do everything in your power to do so. Lamar Jackson in Arthur Smith's offense would absolutely be really close to taking us to the Super Bowl, and it is worth a shot for 3 first round picks.
Okay, so you this is where that like obviously I disagree with that. Okay. This is where I think a lot of people's thinking is flawed. Like where it's like we have to win now, we have to win now. Like patience is a good thing in the NFL. Okay. Let me give you a perfect example. Okay. We talked about this over text. I said I would wait a decade of us being bad if it meant that we win the Super Bowl. Okay. Now, if you just want to go out,
That's
listen,
just not
like
how it is. That's not the
okay, I
league.
get
That's
it.
not
I
how
get it.
we
I get
operate.
it. But let's just say, okay, that if you want a team that can go to the playoffs for, let's say, 7 out of the 10 seasons, but lose in the first or second, or even maybe the conference championship, okay, that's fine. If that's what you want, we probably will get it with Lamar. I think we can find a way to get there, okay. But
Mm-hmm.
if you want to win the whole thing, which is what matters to me, because I think that's what should matter, then it's building through the draft. It's getting, dude, all these teams, the reason why they are able to bring in so many good players is because they have a quarterback that is amazing on a rookie contract. That is when you're able to pull the trigger on these free agents that are asking for crazy money. That's why the Eagles were able to bring in guys like Robert Quinn and CJ Gardner Johnson and trade for guys like that, or bring guys back like James, or bring in James Bradbury. They had cap space to do so because Jalen Hurts is not on a 45 effing million dollar contract. It is smart to have a rookie quarterback, not only in the sense of building through the draft, like having that guy and not having to trade assets for it, but also because of the contract. And that's the two focal points with this Lamar thing. I'm not going to give away
Okay.
3 first round picks
That
and a
that
huge contract.
That's fair to say. It's a massive contract, but at the end of the day, I think the contract would be worth it because I think we'd get a good shot at the Super Bowl. But let's get back to the basis of this conversation.
Okay,
And it's the fact that you think that 3 first round picks is too much because, in all
absolutely.
honesty, that's not even, they're not going to do that because
Okay,
the Ravens are going to want way more
I will
than
change
3
my
first
answer.
round
I
picks.
will change my answer.
Uh huh.
2 first round picks and a second.
That
That's
would be
it.
this. That would be a steal. I think 3 first round picks would be a steal. I think this conversation is going to be pointless in a month or two because like this isn't going to happen. I'm just being real.
Okay. All right. Let's look at this, okay? Josh Allen, do you think he's a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson?
Yeah,
Okay. Joe Burrow, do you think he's a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson?
yeah.
Okay. Aaron Rodgers.
Maybe not now, but most of the time, yeah,
Okay. Patrick Mahomes.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Jalen Hurts. I would say it might be fair to put that now.
I think it's close, but I'd still give it to Lamar ultimately.
Okay. All right. I mean, there's so many quarterbacks to go through, but I mean, like you could like, dude, if you look at it statistically, Jared Goff is right with numbers with Lamar
He's a
Jackson.
good. I like Jared Goff a lot.
Okay,
He's a good player.
my point is, bro, my point is that every single season, and I'm going back to this point, every single season that rolls around, okay, there is quarterbacks in this draft class that people are going to be like, wow, they're amazing. Bryce Young. Do you want you know what I would do this draft? That would be my dream. You know what I absolutely want more than anything?
What?
If we traded up and took CJ Stroud, I would be literally popping champagne with my fucking Oakleys on. That like
I don't know, man.
I'm so serious. I have so much faith in CJ Stroud. Okay. My point is, let's take away even like the whole CJ Stroud thing. Okay. There's quarterbacks that come in every single draft class, man, every single one. And they have the potential to be way better than Lamar Jackson because Lamar
And a
Jackson,
lot of them
he's
miss too, man. Look, if you
you're
think about it,
right. You're
How many
right.
fit in Arthur
You're
Smith's
right.
offense?
You're
Lamar's
right.
like the perfect. If you were to pick one person to fit in Arthur Smith's offense, you're like, holy shit, it's going to be Lamar Jackson.
You're right. But I will tell you,
It sounds so good in an Atlanta uniform, Lamar Jackson. And
of
then
course.
given our history with Arthur Smith, like it's worth 3 first round picks. I mean, it's people are going to argue more than 3. I wouldn't personally, but 3 is like I think that's a
So
steal.
how much is too much for you?
More than 3 first round picks.
More than it. So like if they were like 3 first round picks and a third, you'd say no.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, then respect to you because like 3 first round picks is already too much for me. But if you're
Because I mean
going
that's
over
4
that, then
players.
that I think you're psycho. Like I think you're psycho if you're doing more
And
than
then
that.
like in trade leverage, if I was the coach or GM or whatever in that discussion,
It
I would
comes to the
say
contract.
yeah, I would say no. If throwing in that third rounder, eat a dick. That's too much.
Yeah,
No
we're
thanks.
paying him a crazy contract. We're getting him off.
Hmm.
I get that you're losing your franchise guy. We would love to take him off for you, but we're paying him the contract. It's not already there. You guys aren't paying him some of that. You're not paying for, you'll see in a lot of trades when the contract's too big that a team will get, like a higher compensation than people thought before. Like they'll be like, oh, he's worth a third. They'll get a second, but the team that's trading him will also pay like half the salary. It's not
Yeah,
that's not the
yeah.
case. If they were doing that, dude, fuck yeah. Sorry, I need to quit with the f bombs. But three three first round picks, like yeah, give it. If they're paying half of the salary or 25% of the salary, yeah, give him 3 first round picks. My problem is giving him that huge contract, trying to build a roster around that huge contract and giving up all that draft capital. It's just too much. It doesn't make sense to me. I would rather. I mean, think about it, dude. It's 3 years. We would have 3 years if we went. I guarantee you, like this is a promise. If we went every single year, we actually did our due diligence in scouting. We picked a quarterback every single year. I guarantee you, on those 3 first round picks that we spend, we would find one quarterback that is better than Lamar Jackson.
I mean, that's not a guaranteed thing.
No,
Look
guarantee
at the
it.
Browns, man. They did that for like years. They didn't find
The Browns
nobody.
did an awful job though. Like there's every single quarterback that they took, you could literally go back and look. Like, dude, Johnny Manziel. Like, are we really going to argue how great of a pick that was? Like, yeah, he was a flashy player. He made some amazing plays in college, but everybody knew exactly who he was. Everybody knew exactly who he
Ultimately,
was.
yeah.
Like, you have to make smart decisions. Is this somebody? Look at a Joe Burrow. We knew exactly who Joe Burrow was coming out of college. He was
Yep.
number one in everybody's head, not just
Yep.
because of his play, but because of his mentality. He wants to win. Johnny Manziel doesn't care about winning. Johnny Manziel cares about how many strippers he can get around him in a night.
Dog.
Let's
That's
be
crazy.
real. I'm
Yeah.
blunt. Let's be real. All right.
Yeah.
CJ
Okay.
Stroud is a winner. You see Ohio State get that mad losing to my Bulldogs. He was pissed. He was pissed. He
Yeah.
did a great job in that game. He did a great job. He's a
He
winner.
played good. I'll give it to him.
He's a
But
winner. Draft CJ Stroud.
yeah, we'll see. How long have we been doing this?
That's a good question. It doesn't tell me.
Well, I guess we'll wrap this up. Shout out to my boy Desmond Ritter. If we don't roll with Lamar, you my dog straight up.
You're
Nothing
so
personal.
fake.
Nothing personal, D Rid. Love you to death. But hey, if it's three first, you might get your shot eventually. But shout out D Rid.
Shout out D Rid. All right. Do you want to wrap it up or do you want to?
Yeah. Let's wrap it up. All right.
Okay.
Thank you guys for watching. Everybody follow Joe Knows on everything: TikTok, Facebook, and even his Instagram. Did I say Facebook?
You did just say Facebook. I was about to like clown you for that, but
Follow him on Facebook at Joe
I don't even
Knows.
have a Facebook, bro.
Yeah. Well, all right.
But alrighty.
Yeah. See you guys next time.